You saw the gospel is marching on. Lord's kingdom is advancing. COVID or no COVID, we have got stories, plenty, that even how COVID even helped in the advancement of gospel. And it is happening all over in just a glimpse you got of what advancing native mission is involved in doing. And I was delighted to see that when Pastor Ben asked me the title, what the title for the sermon, I was kind of wondering because I had to break it down, not my full sermon that I thought planned, but even then, finally, so I agreed up and I decided that the beautiful feet. And then, of course, I see that it is already printed in the bulletin. But this part in Romans, before we come to that, you know that already I was delighted to see also that in Isaiah 52:7, so that was almost 700 years before the birth of Jesus, when prophet Isaiah also, how he was prompted to write this. Can you imagine that, Pastor Ben? Isn't it amazing? That's amazing that about 700 before, at least, before the birth of Christ, already he had prophesied how beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him who bring good news, who publishes peace, who brings good news of happiness, who publishes salvation, who says to Zion, your God reigns. Your God reigns. Yes, that is the truth. That is the truth, because time is coming that now we see that there are nations, many nations, those who do not want to accept Jesus Christ as the Lord, and all the atrocities, persecution increasing all over the world, including our country of India that we come from. It is becoming increasingly difficult, and you will not know, the time doesn't permit now, India has come in the persecuted list, which 5 years before it used to be in number 30 or 32. Now it is one of the top 10 in the persecuted list that Open Door produces. And so it is becoming very difficult. Yet, because what we feel that the evil one, Satan, knows that his time is running out. And so he will try to strike out in every way possible. But we know that ultimately who is going to be the victor? And that is Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Because ultimately we know time will come that where every knee shall bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is the Lord. And we have a little share in doing that little bit, making it happen. And that's why this passage is one of my favorite passages that I like to share in churches when I go. And so that we find that when, now quoting from what Isaiah wrote, here Paul is quoting here in Romans, and that for verse 13, for everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. That's a statement which is true. Everyone calls. There is no doubt about that. But then as we go, how then can they call on the one they have not believed in? That is true. If they have not believed, how can they call? And how can they believe in the one of whom they have not heard? I said 3 billion people have not heard. Now how can they believe? And then how can they hear without someone preaching to them? And finally, and how can they preach unless they are sent? That's where A&M or Advancing Native Mission stands for. That these native missionaries, pastors are waiting to be sent out. Normally we say that the field is ripe and the workers are few. But I would like to say the field is ripe and workers are waiting to be sent out. And that's the truth. If you have seen what I shared in the Sunday school, these pastors, these missionaries in these remote jungles, in these remote places, they are laboring hard and they are going forward. They are the frontline soldiers. Me and my wife Anju, we have gone to some of the most difficult places, but that is once or twice or for a week that we have gone. But they live there and they are doing it. And they need to be sent out, but they need their basic necessity on whom they are praying. But here, Lord has equipped us, Lord has blessed us, that we can stand behind these precious brethren, these folks, those who are killed. We know what is happening right now. Last week, who were killed in which country, we know. What is the situation in Mauritania, in Tunisia, in Turkey, in Lebanon, and we know what is happening, how difficult, but they are doing it. Can we stand behind them? And that our target is that right now we are in 13,500 missionaries. Maybe by 2024, we want that there should be at least 20,000 or more missionaries in the field. And that is where we need also your partnership. And how can they preach unless they are sent? And finally, as it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. Today, as you got ready to come to the church, I stood before the mirror and I combed my hair. And I applied, something, perfume here, and it looks good. How many of you look to your feet that is it good or not? We all looked at the mirror to see how good we look. But the Bible doesn't say, how beautiful are your face. Doesn't matter how beautiful is our face. The Bible says how beautiful are the feet who bring good news. This is what I used to tell, sometimes in the church, that as we go up to the heaven, we can imagine that I just imagine in my mind that the Lord will take us the gallery of feet, the feet gallery, feet gallery. Can you picture that in your mind? That to us, this will look a dirty feet oozing something, 2-3 toes missing and ugly, not the Italian leather, and then it would look, the Lord will look that and say, look at that beautiful feet. That was walking in the jungles of Africa and added 3,000 souls. How beautiful is that feet? Oh, look at that feet. When you find that the stumps are there, the toes are gone, and all cracked and all that. Look at that beautiful feet. That was walking in the mountains of India. And that is where added 5,000 souls. What is ugly to us will be beautiful to the Lord. That's why in my short message today, I wanted to draw your attention that yes, we believe in the Great Commission. We stand that how this gospel will be preached. And we know that this the army of these native missionaries, they are doing it. And we are trying to stay behind and encourage. And that is why let us remember that. And how can they preach unless they are sent? They are waiting to be sent out. They are waiting to be sent out. And they don't need a budget of $100,000 a year. And that is okay because in the different countries, between $50 to $100 to $150 or $200, they can be supported depending on where they are. And they are ready to do it. And as it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. Dear ones, yes, God's kingdom is advancing and they are doing it. They are doing it. You saw the proof of it. And it is happening, and that we need to hasten up, join hands together to complete the task. Some time back, in a missions conference, in one of the church, there the theme of the missions conference was, you know what, let me say it this way. I think most of us might have seen Tom Cruise movie which says Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible. You know, yeah, I love that. But you know, the theme of that mission conference was this. Can you read it? Mission Possible. Mission Possible. That was the theme. And I keep it in my Bible. Because God, it is not a mission impossible that God has given. God has given us a mission possible that we can do. That is where we need partnership. That is where we can finish the task. To conclude, I would like to read one article and then I will conclude. And Pastor Ben, I'm sure I'm within the time yet. And so this is because many of you, for the young people, those who are preparing for your future, what the Lord's calling. Well, this is an old letter which was written about a great veteran missionary, Dr. Alexander Duff. You might have read in your colleges, and he was born in 1806 and passed away in 1878. And he went as a missionary to India and reached Calcutta in 1830. And so, this is what I read it. I'll conclude, keeping the mission possible in mind. Dr. Alexander Duff, the great veteran missionary to India, returned to Scotland to die. And as he stood before the General Assembly, he made his appeal, but no one responded. In the midst of his appeal, he fainted and was carried off the platform. The doctor bent over him, examined his heart. Presently he opened his eyes. "Where am I?" he cried. "Where am I?" "Lie still," said the doctor. "You have had a heart attack. Lie still." "But," explained Dr. Duff, "I haven't finished my appeal. Take me back. Take me back. I must finish my appeal." "Lie still," said the doctor. "You will go back at the peril of your life." But in spite of the protest of the physician, the old warrior struggled to his feet, and with the doctor on one side and the moderator of the assembly on the other side, he again mounted the steps to the pulpit platform. And as he did so, the entire assembly rose to do him honor. Then when they were seated, he continued his appeal. And this is what he said. "When Queen Victoria calls for volunteers for India, hundreds of young men respond. But when King Jesus calls, no one goes." Then he paused. There was silence. Again he spoke. "Very well," he concluded. "Then, aged and decrepit though I am, I will go back to India. I can lie down on the banks of the Ganges River, and I can die, and thereby I can let the people of India know that there was one man in Scotland who loved them enough to give his life for them." In a moment, young men all over the assembly sprang to their feet, crying, "I will go, I will go." And after the old white-haired warrior had been laid to rest, these young men, having graduated, found their way to dark, benighted India, there to labor as his substitute for the Lord Jesus Christ. But that was the 19th century. I told you that he passed away in 1878. The scenario has changed. The socio-economical, political situation has changed. Now the approach also has to change. So as I told you that as we think about your future, well, if the Lord calls you, find out where you can go. But or else, as A&M is doing, that we join hands with the native preachers, those who are doing the countries where we cannot go, but they are doing it. But you can have your missionary representing you there, and together we can finish the task. God bless you, Pastor Ben.